We'll lay low here for a bit. The cops will tire from fighting us eventually. Meanwhile, I'll slip into something more comfortable.
Psst, you can look now. Howdy. Bet you didn't know this existed. Oh, did you? Then why isn't this talked about more? Star Wars Racer was this game based on the only other good thing about the Phantom Menace, so I heard. It was all about pod racing, this expanded version of the scene, where you race around tracks to different planets and an asteroid penal colony. Since its release in May 1999 for the Nintendo 64 and PC, with a Dreamcast port coming out the next year, the game had a lot of success despite many reviews. So much so that it got re-released to modern consoles in 2020, with questionable results. I have it on my Xbox One, but it has its problems, like how the audio outside the music only plays on one channel. It isn't noticeable when playing through the TV speakers, but it's still rather annoying with headphones on, which is why I'm playing the Dreamcast version through an emulator for most of its B-roll, and with the success of the original came the follow-up, and I don't know what to follow that sentence up. Racer Revenge was developed not by LucasArts themselves, they merely published it this time, but by Rainbow Studios, you know, the Cars people, and published in February 2002, 3 months before Attack of the Clones hit theaters. Unlike the previous game, this one's a PS2 exclusive, which makes the first game's PS1 exclusion ironic. The passage of time is a funny thing, you know. I really like the box art, so Boba's pod racer in front of a yellow background. With how they pose the thing, but the engines having the most attention makes it so great. Cars look boring, but pod racers? Perfect. I must preface this that I won't be using any Star Wars music or anything that sounds Star Warsy in this video, with the exception of the multiple match win jingle from Ratchet Up Your Arsenal in the intro card. I have this philosophy that any futuristic racing game should always have a banging techno soundtrack, be it drum and bass, jungle, trance, what have you. There are exceptions, of course, but they're just that, exceptions, and Racer Revenge is one of them. It doesn't offer that kind of techno, obviously. It uses snippets from the Phantom Menace's soundtrack, which to me can be repetitive and irritating. While I like the orchestral score as much as the next guy, I'd rather listen to some hard-hitting techno in my racing game. Plus, I don't want to get in trouble with Disney if I play them, so The game starts out with the exact same LucasArts logo bit from the previous game, no joke. It's not even running smooth. Anyways, here's a scroll saying that it's been 8 years since the Phantom Menace, and so Boba wants his revenge for losing to Anakin in either that movie Pod Race or the previous game, take a pick. That's the only bit of story you ever get, but hey, Star Wars, it always needs a test scroll, right? Here's the intro with pre-rendered scenes of racing without an announcer advertising yet, and you might find that voice very familiar later on. So you can do single races, time trials, and all that, or join the tournament to unlock those blacked out characters. Here's the racers, Anakin Skywalker and a bunch of glub shitos from that movie. I'm just going with any. The tournament mode is divided in 3 series with 4 to 5 races each, and to advance to the next, you have to finish at least 3rd place. So it's a typical arcade racer that doesn't give a shit about championship standings. But then you notice something before learning the race. Watto's bribe? KOs? What's this shit? Hold your tauntauns because I must first tackle the presentation. The graphics look great, as expected for an early 2000s LucasArts game, very visual appealing and fast looking. Not only that, but it's a Rainbow Studios PS2 game that runs at 60 FPS. I played Cars on the console and MX Unleashed for the Xbox, and they're locked to 30, but this game runs so smooth, and it should be because the smoother frame rate helps with reaction times. It looks good, and it feels good. This is how you make a racing game look fast. No wonder I felt disappointed about Wipeout Pulse, but that's another story. Unfortunately, a few tracks are so dark they're hard to see. That's bad enough as they are, but because this is a fast-paced racing game, that makes them worse. I love the character models in the menus, but it's a shame they don't have facial animation when they speak. Not even Watto.
Sorry, no refunds. You break it too bad, huh?
It's really jarring and creepy when they don't move their lips at night in the menus and cutscenes. Achoo! What was that? For sound, it's pretty great. I love the pod noises being lifted from the movie, so you still hear the boost activation sound when you do, and it's great. This being a LucasArts game, it is expected. What I don't like are the voice shadow whenever you hit or get hit by someone. I main Anakin, so I kept hearing him taunting in basic head of tease and grunting frustration in races. It's annoying whenever you try to KO someone.
You can't beat a Jedi!
Very enthusiastic since this is supposed to be Hayden Christensen as Anakin.
Yeah!
I guess the compilation not being written and directed by George Lucas and him being played by Darth Vader's other voice actor Scott Lawrence makes it work, but still. The announcer's pretty alright, even if you hear the same lines throughout tournament mode.
For all your collision repair needs, check out Watto's Repair Bay.
Hey, I recognize that voice. Tom Kane! You may know him as the other voice of Yoda and other Star Wars characters in animated or game form, as well as tons of others outside of it. But every time I hear his normal voice, I always think, Professor Utonium, what are you doing here? I already talked about music in my preface, but I like that the music goes silent until the final lap whenever there isn't any paint trading, much like the Phantom Menace and the N64 version of Episode 1 Racer.
Up in front at the end of lap 2, it's Anakin Skywalker.
Ah, fuck. The controls are the usual stuff for a racing game. X for gas, left stick for turning, and R1 for sharper turning. It plays pretty great, similar to Wipeout. It's smooth, it's solid, as well as fast, and I like it. But as this is a pod racer, it has some extra stuff. Just like in the first game, you can press R2 to boost, which is great for getting near the pack or desperate finishes. Just don't use it for long, or else you'll overheat the engines and... That happens. It's certainly better than in the first game where you have to hold the left stick up for a while without letting go, and then tap and hold the gas button to speed it up. Here it's more like in Wipeout 3, just hold R2 for a bit. If this sounds familiar to you, don't accuse Rainbow Studios of time travel. If your chip is damaged, you can hold L2 to repair it, at the cost of a bit of speed. In the first game, it's only reserved for when its engines are less than green, but with an overhauled damage system, it's all about filling those bars to full status. Hitting a wall at full speed doesn't completely destroy the ship though. I guess these ships are stronger than the cars in the Burnout games, but it's a relief that I won't instantly get destroyed by a rock or have a drawn out crash cutscene every time. As for the opponents, unless you're into destroying shit, they won't give you much trouble. Unless your name is Zidek Watto, Joe, and the track you're in is a Nightlands. That fucking jerk keeps catching up to me. Yeah, that can happen in certain tracks, but other than that, it's a pretty pleasant game to race. Now you might be stuck to hear what are KOs for. Unlike the first game, which is more about pure racing, Racer Revenge has a more combat-oriented gameplay. While it isn't a car racer, you still get to hit other drivers and knock them out of the race. Which means you won't respawn when your part gets destroyed, so you have to do it all over again. Now, it isn't Burnout-style takedowns. Why would it? Burnout 3 didn't come out for another 2 years. No, in this case, it's like Destruction Derby. All races have a health bar, and to take them down is to hit them many times till the bar gets depleted. This is great actually, and you know the best bit? Knocking out other races is actually encouraged. Watto will give you some extra cash if you destroy your opposition, so it could be just like Zabulba in the races. It, coupled with the game's frenetic speed, actually makes it more enjoyable if you have a more destructive playstyle. Now that I think about it, I wish I was reviewing Evil Destruction, but for now, Star Wars Racer Revenge. Like I said, the objective is to finish third in all but the final race to progress, as well as earn some cash. True guts in this case, because credits won't do fine here. Like the first game, upgrades are the only way to spend it, knowing this Tony Hawk 2 style system. Each bar costs more than the last, so mind your budget. Unfortunately, and because of that, there's no used parts shop. Not that I mind much, at least I don't have to hire pit droids or replace parts in between races, but I can see why it's lacking to some. In fact, the menus are more streamlined compared to Episode 1 Racer, where it's just simple menus instead of a unique looking one set at a bar or Watto shop, but I also don't mind. My main gripe about the game is that for a sequel, it doesn't have as much content as the last game. Racer Revenge only has 13 tracks in total compared to 25 in EP1 Racer. As a result, the game is really short. I managed to beat the tournament in less than 2 hours without me getting riled up in the process. It helps that the tracks are shorter on average and the events are always 3 laps each. The longest track I've driven was of course the Bunta Eve Classic, which is a lot different from the first game. Regardless, they're an amazing mixed bag of sharp turns, bank corners, shortcuts and multiple paths, crap on the way, and artificial settings for a racing game. When it's a sci-fi racer, it's bound to happen. They're really great to race on, and they don't offer me some bullshit tracks like a few in the previous game. I'm looking at you, Melastera 100. You may look like the Sonoma Raceway, but that jump is terrible for beginners. Don't like that game. It doesn't have some cooler stuff like the 0G bits in Hoover 4, or Tuscan Race actually shooting with explosive rounds in the Punta Eve Classic. Despite the short tournament run time, enough to beat it in one sitting, you can still unlock some secret characters by doing specific things like getting the top best laps or KOs in all the tracks. For instance, you could drive as Watto, that questionably stereotypical merchant, Jake Lloyd as Anakin, Darth Maul, and even Vader with his TIE Fighter inspired pod racer if you unlock the first 3 and went to tourney as one of them. All but one of them have their stats to the max, so that's fun. Unfortunately, despite winning the race there no problem, I couldn't do the record times of the second to last track, the Nightlands. No matter how I do it, I still come up short, like 4 seconds behind. Damn Sebulba. So I went and got a save from someone else to showcase these characters. Winning the tournaments gives you concept out of the game, so that's cool I guess. I shouldn't be scribbling for straws when the game is already good. It may have been short, but I still wouldn't mind. It's easy for me to review a short game, and I prefer talking about them from time to time. I like the combat aspect of the game, as well as the presentation, even if the voice chatter is annoying when you're hunting KOs. But is it better than Episode 1 Racer? Do any of the tracks have the Molester jump? Thought so. If you want to play this, but if you want to go legit, it's part of the PS2 Classic since 2015, so you can get it through the PS Store. Sorry for everyone else. Next time, wait, haven't I reviewed this one before? So yeah, we can't stay in his penthouse for long. We have to move out of New York City, then we do the conversion. Over. Alright then, we'll discuss this later. See ya. Over and out. How are you feeling now, Vincent?
I'm a lot better now, after my freedom.
That's what I like to hear. Me too. Once we leave town after they cool down, Pika will be back up in no time. Look at us, together alone once again. You know, you're a good friend. But I know we can be more than that. It's just that I couldn't admit my love because I'm not a pure human. Look at me, I'm teal.
It's okay, Sophie. Even when you're not human, you're still pretty hot. And good job admitting your love for me. Because after your rescue mission, I love you even more.
Wanna do this?
Oh yeah. Hey Mandy, it's Lauren Trout. At least for now. I'm not feeling well. Look, I apologize for ignoring you while planning that sting operation. I was just too busy and obsessive about it that I thought it was the reason you quit the forces. I should have listened to you because some fucked up shit happened in the span of a week that led to me stop working for the AGF. But the circumstances became so dire that I have no choice but to beg for some form of witness protection. I need a new identity, a new look, a new job, a new place to live. Please, Mandy. I don't want Gordon to execute me. Right. Thank you. I'll meet you in Seattle. Miss you.